Hi, hi everybody. So I would like to introduce a new tool that has been very useful for me, both in looking at um, my own subconscious and my own life, help me understand various painful aspects that create self-sabotage and create a lot of problems in my life, as well as impacting others. And this tool also, I use it relatively often in working with others. So it's a very useful tool. It's called accountability. Accountability. I want to give credit, or at least share where I learned this process. And I know that there are different forms of accountability processes out there. And this particular one is I learned it in the context of this Mankind project, men's work, as well as prison work. And this, I'm pretty sure that also this Mankind project, they compiled it from various sources. And so anyway, doesn't matter who created it, it's useful and I want to share it with you guys. So this accountability process, it is the right tool whenever we, in what context? So it is sometimes, let's say, when when we fuck up, basically, I'm fucking up in connection to other people. And this term fuck up would be, I guess, in more clinical term, or other terms would be that I'm out of integrity. I am breaking my own commitments that I made with others. I am not honoring my, let's say, a promise with myself or others. This could be a specified, clear, agreed agreement to someone, or can be like an implied agreement. Let's say I could have a relationship and there will be this implied agreement that I am honest with my partner, yeah? So although we didn't make a clear agreement like, here, I promise to be honest, there's this implied agreement. So this process is to help us process whenever we are out of accountability or out of integrity with our own agreements towards ourselves or towards other people. Yeah, usually, unless we are like a psychopath, whenever we are out of integrity, out of accountability, and this has an impact on our life or other people, we naturally feel some shame or guilt or regret or embarrassment, or we feel just this kind of conscience, which is very healthy thing to have conscience. Something in me is like, and this doesn't feel good, and I hurt people, and now the relationship is strained, the other person doesn't trust me, and they have very valid reasons to do that. So this process, also, I want to put out here that I know in our culture, this, accountability, be held accountable, the harsh light of accountability. This is associated with like, I've done something bad. I'm bad. I'm going to be punished. And there's this overlay of like authority. Now this authority is going to come at me. So yeah, so the accountability I'm talking about here is actually the aim is not to shame anybody or to make anybody wrong or to beat myself up. The aim of this accountability process is to, for anybody who is interested in healing or awakening or enlightenment or embodiment or raising the level of consciousness, the process of accountability has the purpose of understanding what subconscious or unconscious part of myself is undermining my spiritual will, basically, or what part of myself, what unconscious part of myself is driving the bus when I'm not there present, and it creates havoc in my life. Yeah. So the aim is to become aware of what's underneath this being out of accountability, out of integrity, not to punish or make wrong, but just to become more aware and understand what drives it. And also to understand if that particular thing is a pattern, and to understand what kind of belief or what kind of deficiency identity or story from my past is driving that behavior. Yeah. And the purpose of accountability is to also see more clearly what's underneath the hood, and to also take ownership about our behavior that impact others, even if we didn't plan to do that. Yeah. Also, the purpose of this accountability process is to process this a bunch of emotions. Often when people come to me after they're out of integrity, they are like spinning in like guilt and shame, and then this may go into unworthiness, and I'm bad and I deserve to be punished, and I'm doing this again. So they are kind of more like wallowing or spinning in story or beating oneself up, which actually doesn't go anywhere. It can just more like create toxic shame and, need to drink or escape. So it's a way to process feelings too, and it's a way to shine light on some kind of unconscious shadow behavior. And also there's a way to choose to decide some other direction. And also it's a way to take some actionable steps in that other direction. Yeah. So this accountability process, the way I'm going to explain it here and model it, is more like from the AI point of view, from the Killer Bee point of view, Killer Bee inquiries. This is like a second dimension practice. And then if this doesn't make any sense to you, just let it go. But if you are familiar with this map of consciousness and first dimension, second dimension, third dimensional practice, the second dimensional practice is going a little bit deeper than simply meditation or witnessing or presence or just noticing what is here. The second dimensional practice is meant to kind of almost like open the hood of our subconscious and start to look a little bit, hey, what drives that? What belief is underneath that behavior? What is the cause of that pattern? So these are things that we are not aware. So it needs a little bit of introspection, a little bit of self-processing to see what is hidden, yet operational in our life. Yeah. So this is not the third dimensional practice where we go to the very core of our pain body and we are dealing with deep trauma or repression mechanisms. So this is more like light processing. In Mankind Project, where I learned this process, they were doing this accountability round pretty early on, after we check in and see where we are at, what we are feeling. Yet before going deeper into deeper processing, deeper work, we were encouraged to actually self-check if we are accountable to our agreements and our word. So this was more like a lighter processing of some stuff that's on top before we go to something deep. Yeah. So that was actually very helpful for me. And I realized that although I had been dedicating myself to like awakening and consciousness work and doing all kind of following deep spiritual systems and teachings, I had some major gaps in some very basic level. Yeah. And so basically that basic level is this element, which, it has to be a foundation on a spiritual path. So this would be to keep one's word, to keep my word, to be a man of integrity. Integrity is that I say I am who I say I am, and I do what I say I do. So my words and my actions, they align. Yeah, there is integrity. This is integrity. And this integrity is also very much connected to be very careful about the agreements I make and then honoring them. Yeah. And then, it happens sometimes that we are out of integrity. And then whenever I am out of integrity, to own that, to say, hey, yes, I said this, didn't do it. Here's what's happening. So just being honest and open and vulnerable and self-processing and owning to others. Yeah. This is a basic and very important spiritual foundational practice. It is hard, impossible to kind of transcend the ego or attain, discover our Buddha nature, or go very high lofty spiritual terrain if we are out of integrity in our life with people. That's doesn't jive. So it's some kind of basic sense of ethics. Also, this principle of keeping one's word, it's very important. It's when we are not keeping our word, we are undermining our spiritual will. And as Don Miguel Ruiz, the one who brought the teachings of the 4 agreements, there was the first agreement: be impeccable with your word. So this is a foundational basic teaching which is often overlooked this day and age, and we are usually going for deeper spirituality, some of us, or deeper psychedelic or mystical things, while having a lot of current shit in our life, so that's not going to go very well. Also, what I appreciate in the Mankind Project, when they were teaching this, they were saying like that the problem is that the government and our leaders are not doing that. You know what I mean? So if the leaders of humanity were to have integrity and be accountable and self-process, the whole world will look very different, So, all right. So that's some context. And let me get into it. Yeah. So this accountability process has like 6 or 7 basic questions. And this, in the Mankind Project, this was more like it's a warrior archetype process. Warrior archetype, meaning it's straightforward, it's not complicated, it's not subtle. Yes and no, clarity, no bullshit. Yeah, it's like the sword of discrimination. So, some processes, they are more like subtle and exploratory investigation, subtle realms. With integrity, that doesn't work because we can easily bamboozle ourselves. So, no bullshit, cut to the chase, yes or no. Big part of it is telling the truth. Yeah. So, all right. So let's say, first of all, so this accountability doesn't make any sense. It makes sense only if I have a clear agreement with myself or others. Yeah. So if I have a clear agreement with myself or others about certain thing, then if I don't keep it, then I'm out of integrity. And then there's impact in the relational field, and there's impact with myself. There's always impact, even if we lie ourselves or fool ourselves or kind of try to not see that and justify. So let me give you an example. Let's say Johnny has an agreement to be honest with his partner. Yeah. And this already, there's, let's say, some history of deception and of lies or manipulation or hiding, and then this problematic in the relationship, and then so at some point in a couples therapy or whatever, Johnny says, okay, you know, I promise I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm gonna be honest, as a good foundational practice for trust and relationship. Yeah. So let's assume that's the case, and then something happens, and then Johnny kind of comes to me in my office and is like, or I am Johnny, yeah, I am Johnny doing this. So either somebody comes to me in my office and I help them process them using the accountability process, or I self-process myself. The ultimate gain is to self-process. Yeah, that would be very awesome to do that. Also, this process, one of the aims of it is to not just to clear my side of the story and to see and understand what sabotages my integrity and how I impact others, and see patterns and see my subconscious, but also it is as a way to get back into integrity and repair the relationship with the other person, you know. And we can't repair the relationship if there is first, so doing this accountability with the other person can be very healing and helpful, and requires a lot of courage and integrity, and at the same time it will rebuild the trust very likely. So all right, so let's take this case, this vignette that Johnny is coming and is like really stirred and is saying, man, I'm such a piece of shit. I'm a terrible husband. I can't stand myself. There's like, I'm like, hey, what's going on, man? What's happening? Yeah, you know, I did it again. You know, I like can't stand myself, and she's gonna leave me, and then I'm just going to go to the bar and just slam a bottle of vodka, fuck my sobriety, doesn't matter, I'm such a piece of shit. I'm like, okay, dude, what's going on? Anyway, so he tells me that, well, yeah, you know, I promised to her and I promised to myself and to a therapist that I'm going to be honest, and she asked me about that, and I lied again, and then I feel like a total asshole. Okay, this is a good time to engage in this accountability process. And what I like to tell people is like, listen, are you willing to go through this process? This is called accountability. And I tell them this is not about shaming you. This is not about punishing you. It's a process for you to understand who is the other Johnny, because you came here to me and you promised to that you say are going to be honest and give your word to your wife, and then there's another part of yourself who is not aligned with that. So I want to help you to see who is driving the bus in the second shift when you are not there in control. Yeah, so it's not about punishing, it's not about shaming, it's about knowing the truth about yourself and understanding some more stuff about your subconscious, and hopefully maybe getting back in integrity with yourself and others. You want to do this, man? Yes. Okay. And I tell them also, the person, look, this is a straightforward process. It's like yes or no, no bullshitting. Yeah. So I am going to be pretty strong and firm with you, but I'm not upset with you. This is how the process is. Yeah. You're good with that? Yes. All right. So I am first question, and I'm going to put these questions, I'm going to write them there. Some of you want, I mean, I highly recommend to try this on your own. And also I know some of you are working with other people, having clients or doing groups. This is an excellent tool to learn to help people process their shit. So first question is, all right, Johnny, so what was the agreement? What was the agreement? Johnny will say, well, the agreement was that I am honest with my wife whenever I meet whenever, especially when I am engaging with other people, and also I have this thing that have a tendency to stay in touch with old girlfriends, and then that's really problematic. And so I promised to her to not connect with my ex, or if I do, I will tell her right away. Okay, so that's the agreement. Very good. The first question was, what is the agreement? Now we get the agreement. Second question is, I asked Johnny point blank, did you keep it? Johnny, did you keep it? And Johnny's like, I tried, but I'm like, Johnny, yes or no? Johnny's like, no, I didn't keep it. All right, that was the second question. Just this is telling the truth, at least oneself, higher power, to another human being. Third question is, what did you choose to do instead? What did you choose to make more important than keeping your own word and your agreement that you made here willingly? What did you choose to make more important or to do instead? Now Johnny would be like, well, also this choice, this is a subconscious choice, but we did still choose it, yeah? Well, I chose to hide. I hid, and actually I hid, and I planned to meet my ex secretly. And actually, when my wife asked me, I lied in her face. Okay, so you choose to hide and lie. Okay, all right, very good. Rather than telling the truth. Okay, very good. It's very good. They're telling the truth. Next question is, so this lying and hiding, is this like a pattern, or is it like first time that happened? They'll be like, no, that's a pattern, man. I've been doing this a lot in my life. It actually ruined some of my relationship. I was doing this as a kid. My parents kept wanting me to change it, and I keep doing it, and it's like I'm tired of it, and like it's a pattern, man. Okay, it's a pattern. Very good. So let's look at it. Next question is, so I recap. What was the agreement? Did you keep it? What did you choose to make more important than keeping your word? Is this a pattern? Okay. Next question is, what is the impact on yourself or others of you not keeping your word and lying and hiding, and not keeping your word of being honest? Now Johnny will go inside and be like, whoa, that's a lot of impact, man. Impact on myself is that I have shame. I feel like shit. I feel like I'm a piece of shit. I have shame. I have guilt. I'm afraid. I'm afraid that actually she's gonna find out, and then she's gonna leave me. I'm afraid. I'm stressed. Another impact is like, so yeah, as a facilitator, you try to listen. I mean, you listen, and it's like, okay, anything else? Try to get all the impact. It's important to see that. Well, yeah, the impact is that I'm a meditation teacher. Actually, I have clients, I teach them meditation, and I teach them this, and I talk about integrity and all of that. And I'm a hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite. I'm just full of shit. I'm teaching all of this, and then I'm doing the same thing that I'm teaching people. So I'm undermining my own thing. I don't think I should be doing this because I'm a scum. Okay, well, that's a lot of impact. So shame, guilt, regret, fear, stress, doubt in my own ability. And actually, I feel like it doesn't matter, man. I'm going to drink now. I've been sober for 2 years. I'm going to go and drink. Okay. So it's like a strong discomfort that you want to just, it may, ruin your life now if you go back on a binge drinking. So it's a little impact. All right. I hear that. Next question is, okay, what's the impact of you not keeping the word on other people? On your partner or something? Like, oh yeah, well, yeah, she actually she feels that something is wrong with me. I'm pulling away, so our relationship is affected. If she finds out, and actually she will find out, she's not going to trust me. She's going to be really upset with me, and she's not going to trust me anymore, and she may leave me. Yeah. And then okay, what's the impact that? Well, I really love her and she's awesome, and I'm just don't want to lose her. All right, so it's a lot of impact. Well, what's impact? Is any impact on any other people? Well, no. I say, well, Johnny, but how about your kids? So you are having this. You are, even if you don't talk about it, you are playing this pattern of hiding and lying, and it's very likely that your child is going to get some of this for osmosis. You are modeling this, even if you say it or not. So John is like, yeah, man, I don't want to show up like this with my kids. All right, we're going for the impact. You can let in between each question a little silence or a little time to let this settle in. Next question is, we are going deeper now. Yeah. So because there's a out of integrity, there's a pattern, there's a type of strategic behavior. Yeah. Hiding and lying, in spite of the fact that I want to be honest. There's a lot of impact, but we don't know what drives it, because hiding and lying it's a behavior. It comes from somewhere else. Yeah. So the next question, which is very important, is, what is the shadow or a subconscious belief or deficiency story belief on old story of mine? I'm fishing now for a core limiting program. Yeah. What is a story about myself or a story about the world, subconscious program that I have that is driving this behavior? Yeah. So this is hard to answer right away. So one may need a little support, kind of going inside, close your eyes and try to see what drives this. But let me give you an example. Okay, so I'm hiding and lying. Okay, what drives this? Okay, I'll give an example. Well, you know what? I believe that, I had this in childhood. I believe that, I do whatever it takes to get what I want. I will do whatever it takes to get what I want. I will lie, steal, or cheat to get what I want. I don't care about anybody else. Just do that. Great. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So now you're seeing this. You're seeing this aspect of oneself that is in the shadow, that is like, hey, I don't care about other people. I'll just do what I want. Okay. I'm like, let's go deeper than that. What else is here? So okay. What else? What other old story from my childhood? Why did you lie and hide in childhood? No. Anyway, Johnny now has the insight. Oh yeah, I get it. Because I'm afraid. Okay. So what's the belief, or what's the deficiency story, deficiency identity, or deficiency program driving this behavior? Is that, oh yeah, it's not safe to be honest. It's not safe to be real. It's not safe to be myself. I can't be myself. Yeah, I can't be myself. It's not safe to be real. Okay, well, this is a childhood imprint, So we make this conscious. Very good. Yeah, so we identify, I can't be myself. It's not safe to be real. I'm afraid underneath. And so the child learned to kind of protect itself and adapt maybe to a hostile environment or harsh environment or strict environment. So the child is now still playing this behavior now as an adult, unconsciously. So we are making this is already like, wow, I see what drives that, So instead of now just beating myself up because I'm bad, I am seeing that out of pain body, this comes out, and there's some innocence to that, All right. Now, I want to say that this is not going deep all the way. At any point, actually, sometimes I do this process, and if something comes up or whatever results come from this process, I can bookmark it and go deeper now. Because now now we discovered that there is this deficiency identity that I can't be myself. It's not safe to be honest. I have to hide. I have to, it's not safe to be real. It's not safe to be vulnerable. It's not safe to tell the truth in the relationship. Yeah. Well, this is a deep program. So this accountability process just illuminates it, but then you may need to do some other work. You can go deeper now, bring this program and look at its origins and process this, doing other tools. You can do KI, you can do somatic processing, you can do Sedona method, Byron Katie, whatever, to defragment and to deconstruct that belief. Yeah. But this accountability is more like, at least you illuminate it, okay? All right, so let's go to the next question. Yeah, so we have, what was the agreement? Did you keep it? What did you choose to make more important? Is this a pattern? What's the impact? What is the shadow? Okay, so now Jimmy said, yeah, I can't be myself and I don't care about anybody else. I do whatever I want. Okay. Now this subconscious stuff comes up on the surface. This is what is the other Johnny and Dr. Hyde. Yeah, this is the other one that yeah. Now it's here. Now I ask Johnny, all right, man, thanks for your honesty. Thanks for being real with me here. And is this the man you want to be? You'll be like, what? Is this the man you want to be, with your wife, with your children, that, hiding and lying and don't care about other people and do whatever the fuck you want? Is this the man you want to be? And Johnny most likely will be like, no, man, I don't want to be like that. Here, I'd like to add another thing, like, well, are you sure? Are you sure you don't want to be like that? It's like, yeah, man, I don't want to be like that. That's not aligned with my spiritual practice. It's not how I want to be as a father. It's no. Okay, I honor you for that, man. How do you want to be? Next question. How do you choose to be? Actually, if you don't want to show up like, how do you choose to be? Well, Johnny will be like, I really, it's important for me to be a man of integrity. I want to be honest and real. I want to be honest and to be courageous, be honest and real and impeccable on my word. I really want to do that. All right, man. Good. I honor you for that. Great. Now, the next step of this is like, okay, so how are you going to do that? You know what I mean? Because you still have this deep imprint, and then also now you are in a sneaky bastard status, and then also now you're hiding from your wife, and also she's going to find out, and then she's going to not trust you. So we can't leave the process as there. So there's one more step, which is called I'm offering the person or myself to take an act of accountability, or an act of consciousness, or a small goal, or a stretch, like I'm committing to something. And here I ask Johnny, or we can collaborate to create a small act of consciousness, or a goal or something, in order to diminish the gap yeah, to actually to move away from being like out of integrity, sneaking, hiding, lying man, to being a man out of integrity. There needs to be some work here to be done. So also this act of accountability also would be good in order for the person to feel good about themselves again, to get back in integrity with myself now, yeah, and to get back integrity with other people, yeah. So here there may be the tendency to be like, well, yeah, you know, sorry, sorry, I'm sorry I lied, I'm sorry I did this for the 7th time, I'm sorry. In Mankind Project, we had the saying like, well, sorry is not going to cut it, bro. Sorry, how is it going to be different next time? Yeah, so we need more than sorry. We need this deep, ruthless inventory and being honest and some introspection, and then you need to do something about it. So you not just have wishful thinking, yeah. So that's important to take this next step to do an act of consciousness, which is multiple. I feel better with myself. I practice the new direction I want to be, and also it may have the effect of cleaning up my mess and getting back in integrity with my partner. All right. So I'm asking Julian, okay, so what would that be? Something. Okay, well, and Johnny will say, well, and here there needs to be something, you know, this smart, S-M-A-R-T, simple, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So we can't say, oh yeah, I commit now that I'm going to be honest all the time. Well, that's too big, that's too vague. You know, I want that it's more like simple, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound by next week. Okay, so, you know, a good act of accountability would be actually, you know, I'm going to clean this up with my wife. So I commit that by next week, I'm going to do this process in front of my wife. You know, actually, I've done this myself, and actually it was very helpful when I was deceptive to a friend, a good friend, out of a similar Johnny pattern. And then the other person found out and was like, dude, this is weird. And so anyway, I did self-accountability in this way. And then I said, you know, my friend, I would like to, yeah, I'm out of integrity. It feels like shit. And I would like to do this process in front of you. Would you be willing to just hear me? And the person would be like, yeah. So then I just went through all these steps. Yes, I lied to you. Yes, the impact was this. I feel like this. The impact on you is that. What drove this behavior? Well, yeah, I have this old pattern of, you know, so I went through the steps. I was honest and real and actually was vulnerable. And the person had the chance to see how actually I do care. It feels like shit. And I do care about our connection. And so to your surprise, you know, just doing that and being honest about your shit, the other person will trust you more, you know? When you say, yeah, I fucked up, I did this, and here I'm coming to you and I clean it up, yeah? So that will be a good act of consciousness, or, you know, it could be something, anything to be actionable, simple, measurable, attainable, you know? Not to atone. This is not about atoning or punishing yourself, but to take something that will take you in the direction of how you want to be. Yeah. So another example of a stretch for that Johnny situation would be to, yeah. So you know, I actually did this myself when I was in this situation. I was so shocked by how strong this pattern was in my life. So I made a stretch that, you know, my commitment is to be honest. Yeah, honest with people and stuff. And so, and whenever I'm not honest, I am going to report back to my men's group. I was in a men's group at that time, and I'm going to just be honest there and process each time when I do that, you know? So I'm not hiding it from myself. And yeah, so then instead of hiding it and being in the darkness, I'm being more in the light. You know, all these things, they can only happen in the darkness where we don't want to see this. I'm lying myself, but if I bring it to other men, I'm honest, then we get support somehow. We can't do this. A lot of these things can only happen in the dark. Yeah, so that's the process. And yeah, I recommend to try it whenever you, that's a way to, you know, that's a way to learn from the mistake, to own, and to also not just, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize, but to see what drives this, to see the impact, to actually be courageous and try to make it better, to show that actually I do care about our relationship, you know. And so what act of consciousness I can do to get back into trust with the other person. Yeah. Oh yeah, so that's a way to own, that's a way to learn, to see what drives it. It's a way to actively correct our behavior and have a more ethical, integrous way of being in the world. I'm totally a fan of, you know, pursuing awakening and non-duality and deep stuff like that, but ethics and integrity, it's a foundation. So we are not going to go very far into deep mystical things if our life is a mess right here, right now. Nisargadatta would say you can't transcend and leave a mess behind. It's not going to work. So this accountability process, it's a way to clean up our mess and look at our mess and own it. And yeah. Yeah, so I got a lot of benefit from this process. I've seen it work many times. It's very simple. You can do it to yourself or others. I will send you in the body of the message here, there will be the questions. And now, this being said, that process could be actually a beginning of something. So I would go in the next session or on myself, like, okay, now that I identified the program that I can't be myself, is not safe to be real, you know, just knowing it is not going to change it. Yeah. So there's necessary now to do some deeper processing around that. So other tools may be necessary, for sure will be necessary to process that and diminish that program. And you know, probably there's trauma behind it and all of that. But once again, this accountability process is a second dimension practice that is very essential if it were taught in school, and if our leaders and our you know, government would do that, there would be a very different world. And yeah, remember this, that very important to keep one's word, and therefore it's important to be discriminant when you give your word. You know, when you make an agreement, you know, often there's a pattern of making agreements coming from shadow, you know, just to please somebody, or I don't really want to do it, or it's also tricky. So be very careful about when you give your word. But as you give it, it's important to keep it. Yeah, otherwise we sabotage and undermine our own spiritual will. And feel free to share any questions or comments here, or so any area or topic of interest that you may want me to tackle. All right, guys, thank you, and may it help you out. Ciao.